Heart fans, welcome to the 2024-2025 Heart Men's Wrestling Media Day. I'm your host, Tony Hager with IA Russell. Love being able to talk about the Heart and the NAI division here about wrestling. So next up here on Media Day is our first-year head coach, William Penn at William Penn University, Drew Sams, and student-athlete Hector Diaz. Guys, I appreciate you joining us here on Media Day and ultimately to talk about your program and where you plan on taking it, Coach. This is your first year at WPU, but you're no stranger to the Heart. You know what you're getting yourself into wrestling at Graceland University. Just how excited are you for the opportunity to be a head coach in the Heart Conference?
Yeah, I mean, super excited. William Penn's a great place, but as far as the Heart Conference goes, it's something that it's really all I know when it comes to college wrestling. Obviously, wrestling for Graceland, coaching for Graceland. I've been in the Heart for the last 7 years, so definitely, super excited to continue working in the Heart Conference and just continuing to have athletes that compete in the conference.
When uh, taking the job at William Penn, ultimately, a job is a job, but you want to go to you want to go somewhere, a university that is going to support you in your program. What really kind of sold you on leading the Statesman?
Yeah, I mean the athletics department culture here is huge. It's definitely a winning culture. It's definitely a family here. Really, this athletics department is a place that I could see myself thriving, having a lot of success. The other big thing is Oskaloosa's home to me. Originally from Oskaloosa, so being able to move back home, be closer to family, kind of like I talked about families really important in my program, really important in, this athletic department culture. So, being able to, grow my family in, the town that I originally called home as well. So,
When did you officially step foot on campus?
uh, right around May 20th. So graduation was done. Almost all the athletes were gone. So, little bit later in the year.
Yeah, so getting to know the guys, I'm sure has been a challenge, and figuring out who your leaders are. Obviously, you've got Hector Diaz here next to you. I'd like you just to introduce him and his importance to your program.
Yeah, I mean, Hector has been someone that, since day one has been really willing to do whatever's asked of him. I think is a great leader that doesn't necessarily have, a leadership, a captain title. He's somebody that, comes in the room every day, works really hard, like I said, does what's asked of him, but also, leads the guys around him and, is able to bring guys up without necessarily having, a badge that says, team captain. He's a senior for us, his final year. So, I think he's someone that knows the program really well, knows the university really well, and I think it has just been a really good mentor for some of our younger athletes.
Hector,
Mhm.
you know, the season, is upon us. I mean, obviously, hearing you're getting a new coach, I'm sure there's thoughts in your head, of who's it going to be? What's it going to be like? Is it going to be like our old coach? Is it going to change philosophies, values? What has been the biggest thing and the biggest change maybe for you that has helped you either physically or mentally to prepare you for the season?
I guess honestly, one of like probably the big things maybe when Coach Ames was coming in is making sure like if I thought like he'd be like the right guy stepping in the shoes or whatnot for him to lead us. I thought he was, to be honest, when after we practiced a little bit or whatnot. I thought he was a pretty good coach. I like how during practices or whatnot, he'll really like emphasize and go over technique, making sure we get it down. We'll go live, see what we did wrong, what didn't go wrong, and then we go back into drilling. I think he also really emphasizes on team. Like I just like the team a lot, like a bunch of brothers. So I think it really helps out on that too, because we just push ourselves and motivate ourselves more and more every day.
You as a senior serving as a leader, coach talked about just, it's not on your chest, like there's no distinction of who's the leader or captain or whatever on the team. What does that role mean to you? What are you kind of, I got to focus on yourself, right? We're an individual sport, but as you said, coach is really focusing on team. So, what is your role? How do you feel like your role is on, making the Statesman a success, in a dual team format?
I guess like my terms of it is more like if we're having fun and we're going out there and competing and winning and pushing ourselves, I think that's just the goals that we need to hit every day. I'd like to see, like, I feel like wrestling should be something fun, something that we should be able to do as like just because we want to, not because we're told to.
Love it. Coach Mullins at Grayson was obviously a big mentor of yours. What do you, how much are you looking forward to that opportunity to have, him in a corner opposite from you, and in the heart?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's really big. I'm sure people assume, I leave Graceland, go to a different school, and Coach Mullins isn't necessarily, now he's a competitor, but it really, hasn't been that way. If I've had questions, obviously being a first year head coach, there's some things I just don't know yet, and I come across him, I have questions. He's continued to be a mentor, even throughout my process, even as a direct competitor in the heart. So love the man to death. One of my best friends. So, I think it'll definitely be different having him across from me. I know how he coaches, so I'm sure we'll push each other's buttons a little bit in the way that we coach. But no, I think it's awesome to kind of have the guy that mentored me and is kind of giving me everything in collegiate wrestling and have him across from me. I think obviously they have a really competitive squad, so I'm really looking forward to competing against them this year and obviously getting to go back to Graceland and compete against those guys will just be kind of a little bit surreal, but it'll be a just kind of a nice reminder of kind of where I've been and where we're at now.
And William Penn is going to host the 2025 Men's Wrestling Conference Championship in February. One of my favorite things about William Penn is the light show for duels. The just in, I haven't been to the other athletic programs, obviously, for just the wrestling duels, and as the atmosphere there is, it's unmatched just with that light show. It's awesome, right? I would have loved to wrestle on something like that stage. So when you're first, your coach and you have expectations of how that dual environment's going to be, and then ultimately the conference tournament, right? How much are you looking forward to having that on your plate, and representing William Penn for the other Heart Conference competitors?
Yeah, I mean, as far as dual environment goes, I think, all the lights and, the music and everything, it's obviously put on a show, it's entertainment. But I think it just gives, our guys just kind of a little bit of a, like you talk about home field advantage, a little bit of competitive advantage, really get to, pump it up and, have their walkout songs and, have the lights going and the WP running around the room. We've got some really cool new lights from Musco. I mean, Musco's been a huge supporter in William Penn, but we've got some new light show that we're breaking out on Thursday. But just being able to follow the athletes, and we've got a spotlight this year, and being back in Penn Gym, so really cool environment, really cool atmosphere, and I think we're definitely gonna be able to use that to our advantage. And I think our guys are gonna really enjoy competing in that environment. And then as far as conferences go, as much as it probably seems like it's a lot on my plate, our events team Bailey does a really good job of running everything, making sure everything's in order and that event running smoothly. I think when I was at Graceland, I've never had an issue, never had any complaints about how the conference tournament's been run at William Penn, and I think it just runs so smoothly because Bailey and her team down in athletic operations has just been they're so on top of things. And I mean, the light show's cool in the pack for the conference tournament, but it's definitely a whole different beast in Penn Gym for our duels. So
Absolutely, Hector. As a one of the leaders in this program, um, the first year coach, how much have you been, I guess, taking the team and maybe redefining the goals, maybe redefining mindset. How what kind of approach have you taken as a leader going into this season? I mean, we're competing. We're competing on Thursday.
Well, I guess I think the goal still stands throughout all these years. We train hard because we want to just win. We just want to compete with the top guys in the nation, and we just want to beat them up, show them that we're top dog instead.
And coach, just as instilling kind of your philosophy, your values, um, being a younger coach, right? What do you take from your experience at Graceland that you can that you want to instill that maybe you didn't get as an individual, right? I mean, obviously you talked about your coach being great, but there's also always things that we learn from our past that you can hand over to guys like Hector.
Yeah, I mean, I think again, putting a huge emphasis on family. That was something we always had, a really big emphasis on. I think the having fun piece, and I think that's kind of something I probably, and maybe this is just the way that I trained and the way that I approached everything was I maybe didn't have as much fun with the sport as I could have, and I definitely want to make sure that you know we're not burning guys out. We're continuing to enjoy and love the sport. And, I think these guys are, have kind of found a new love for the sport. We're trying to incorporate having fun in everything that we do. But at the same time, just training super hard and making sure that, we're at our best, athletically and, able to compete at the highest level, that our bodies will let us. But, the thing that keeps us mentally engaged is being able to enjoy it and have fun while we do it. And I think that's one thing I want these guys to take away from it is we're going to compete at a high level, but we're going to enjoy it. It's not going to be, dreading practice and dreading, competition and wrestling season. It's going to be, really enjoying it and getting the most out of it.
Hector, last question, as a going out senior, right?
Mhm.
What do you see yourself doing in the future? Outside the wrestling room, what do academics is a big part of, William Penn, the Heart. What do we plan to do in the future?
Well, probably, to be honest, I would like to get back a little bit to this program, when in any shape or form I can. I do plan on probably pursuing something like in management or in business, make myself a good living because I feel like I learned the necessary lessons in wrestling and even in school too for education to how to make myself successful and succeed. But I do want to be able to give back to this community that I feel like has given me a lot of opportunities to help myself achieve, like, I guess, just better stages in life.
Awesome. Well, good for you, Coach. Wish you best of luck in your first year. Obviously at IRSL, if you guys need anything about your program, just please reach out. And Hector, wish you the best of luck on the mat starting soon. So we'll be
Thank you.
watching.
Appreciate it, Tony.
Thanks, guys.